compared to the fast pack, here we have to mix the material by ourselves. That means we have to notice also that we have a reaction time of the material, yeah, and or a working time, hot life of this material. And after this time, the material starts to cure. And if you will not take care of this, it's possible that the material will also react in the pump. Therefore, it's better if you're working with a pump like this, that you have two people, one person which is just staying with the pump and looking for fresh material, good mixed material, setting up the pressure of the pump, and the second one is just for hopping from packer to packer, opening the valve, closing the valve, that's it. Yeah? You can also do it alone, but it's tricky because you have to be at the pump and at the packer at the same time, and the pipe is something around 5-6 meters long, so it's obvious that you need two people, yeah, to make it work. In this case, with the compact, it's a epoxy-based material. That means for dry cracks, moist cracks is also okay, as long as there is no pressurized water. You can go for this material, but if there is pressurized water leaking out of your crack, it's better to change to or to switch to the polyolefin-based materials, because you have no beneficial spare reaction with this kind of materials. There is a spare reaction, but it's not beneficial. So this material is for a forced-fitted crack filling, and our polyolefin-based materials are just for sealing, stopping water, and that's it. Flexible, of course. Yeah? Good. So the first thing is, of course, you have to mix the material homogeneous. You have to mix the material, and then you have to repot it in a clean bucket, mix it again, and then you can go ahead. So now you have the material. You can pour it into the reservoir. Like you see, there's still some space. You can go for sure for 2 kgs at once, yeah, because till the pipe is filled with material, I would say you can go for 1 additional liter, but does it make any sense? No. And I tell you why. It's hard enough to inject 1 kg of crack resin in time before the material has to get out of the pump. Yeah? You have something around 35-40 minutes, minus 5 minutes because of mixing and everything. And if you have very fine cracks, it takes a lot of time and patience, and it happens very often that you have 20, 30, 40% of your resin which you have to skip. Because when the time is over, you have to get out you have to take care that the material gets out of the pump. Otherwise, the material starts to cure in the pump, and then you can go home. Because there's no way to repair this pump. The next thing is we have to flush the pump now with the material, that we have contact with the material. One point which is also very important is, normally, if you are finished, you clean the pump with solvent, and after that, I always recommend to flush the solvent out with a small amount of hydraulic or motor oil. Hydraulic and motor oil has mostly the same color like the resins, and the risk that you think you have contact to the material, but in fact you have still some rest of oil, which you inject now into the crack, the risk is very high. Therefore, if you don't know the point where you have the pure material, I can just recommend to flush the pump first with solvent. After that, put in the resin, because the difference between the resin and the solvent is clear. But the difference between oil and resin, hard to see. And then there is a risk that you still inject some oil into the crack, which is a problem, like non-cured material, for example. I need the air pipe, by the way. So this pump is really, really simple. You have just one needle valve and one main valve. You open this main valve, and then the rest you just set up with this needle valve. When it's opened, it's just the speed, and when you are injecting, you are just regulating the pressure with this pump. The pressure transmission of the pump is very high. That means 1 bar inside pressure here is almost 39 bars injection pressure. Yeah? So you have to calculate this in mind, because there is no manometer here where you can read the real injection pressure. Yeah? And this is okay as long as you're going for the high pressure injection packers, but if you're going to the adhesive packers, the maximum allowed pressure is 60 bars. And 2 bars here are more than 60 bars. That's what I mean. You have to be very careful. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, unfortunately our material valve is broken. So I decided to just open it for always, yeah, and do the rest here, okay? Can you set the pressure for me? Ja, wir können schon loslegen. I would not recommend to place yourself while you inject directly in front of the packer. I would take a reasonable amount of distance just to be sure. If there will leak something, then you are hopefully not in the spotlight.
The moment we're at 1 bar.
So with this pump, it's a pneumatic pump. It's different to an electrical run pump. You will not hear the pump always, but that doesn't mean that material is not flowing. Yeah? Sometimes you can feel the pulses in the pipe, and of course, if the needle is moving, it's a sign for pressure loss. And if you have a pressure loss and the pump is technically okay, you can just lose pressure here. And that is a good sign that material is going in.
Can you feel the pulse?
Yeah, not anymore, because what happened is, first of all, you just fill the drill canal. In the drilling canal, you spend, I would say, 50, 60, 70% of the whole material. The material which is going into the crack is, compared to the big drilling canal, it's nothing. Yeah. So the first thing what you are doing is almost pressureless, filling the drilling canal, and after that you have to search for the contact to the crack. That is the main difference between adhesive packers and injection packers. You need always more pressure and time and patience, because there is no direct contact to the crack. You have to find contact to the crack. Here, you have direct contact to the crack. That is a big difference between these two techniques.
It's no problem to increase the pressure up to 80, 100 bars. But if you have too much pressure, if you raise it up to 200 bars, it's possible that the concrete breaks. Yes. So I think I go up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, to 2 bars.
Almost 80 bars.
Around 80 bars at the nozzle, yes.
Minus maybe a little bit because of the pipe length, and yeah. But too much, officially too much for adhesive packers, right?
And also you must increase the pressure very slowly. Otherwise, like a heavy weight, putting it slowly on the floor is different than dropping, yeah? So that's why they are cautiously increasing. And always start a new packer at 0. Always start at 0, yeah?
I take a look, yeah. I switch off the air and if you see the pressure gauge is going down, that means it's losing pressure, and that means material is running very slowly.
Yep.
Also from here.
Yeah. So you see, it's normally just a concrete beam, and the crack is not the finest crack. At 4 millimeter, no, 0.4 millimeter is fine, but it's nothing special. It happens every day. But you see, sometimes you need patience. But I tell you something. The 1264 compact, compared from the viscosity to a 2300 top, for example, it's like honey. It has a very high viscosity, something around 300 millipascal seconds. With 2300 top, we have something around 68. Tremendously different, yeah? And that is what I mean, yeah? Of course, you have one benefit with epoxy-based materials. They have a very low surface tension, which is also important for injection into fine cracks. But what counts also is the consistency. And you see the material is thick. It's not too thick, yeah, but it's far thicker than, for example, the 2300 top. It's like water compared to this, yeah. And you need some
How do I add
pressing, but with a lot of
energy?
yes.
Someone wants to handle the pump, you can.
And very important, keep it straight, because on this direction you cannot lose it. If you want to lose this connection,
Okay.
just do it like this. But if you do it while you are injecting, then the material is leaking out, yeah?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
So here.
Yes.
this one,
Keep it straight, directly. Yep.
Nobody must forget that you must go back and inject those packers again before half an hour finishes. Why? Because of the capillary action, yeah? So it doesn't go back.